Turkish President Recep Tayyip Erdogan has described Israel's recognition of Somaliland as illegitimate and destabilising for the region. He made the statement during a visit to Istanbul by Somalia's President Hassan Sheikh Mohamud. The two leaders have been discussing Israel's decision to support the breakaway region.
Preserving the unity and integrity of Somalia under all circumstances is a priority for us. Israel's decision to recognize Somaliland is illegitimate and unacceptable. The Netanyahu government has the blood of 71,000 of our Palestinian brothers and sisters on its hands, and now they're trying to destabilize the Horn of Africa as well, after its attacks on Gaza, Lebanon, Yemen, Iran, Qatar, and Syria.
In our discussion today, we strongly rejected Prime Minister Netanyahu's illegal aggression in recognizing part of Somalia's northern regions as an independent state. This aggression and the blatant meddling constitute a clear violation of the international law, the Charter of the United Nations, the Constitutive Act of the African Union, and all established diplomatic norms.
Well, for more on this, we have Sinem Koseoglu joining us live now from Istanbul. Sinem, what came out of that meeting exactly, and how important is Turkey's support for Somalia?
Well, this partnership between Somalia and Turkey is important on strategic, actually, on several levels. If we start with security, Turkey's military support to Somalia as a key partner in the fight against armed groups is important, not only for Somalia, but also for Turkey. By this way, when you stop the armed groups spreading in the continent and stopping the spillover effect to other continents is important for both sides. And Turkey, instead of trying to replace the state institutions as an influencer in the region, Ankara always supported the state capacity building in Somalia. And on the economic level, this offshore drilling is important because two leaders confirmed that the surveys, the exploration surveys, showed encouraging results, and if it succeeds, if they succeed to start drilling in the Somalia offshores in 2026, this can have transformation effect in the country's economy, which is trying to implement a national development plan. And on the other side, on the diplomatic side, of course, Turkey's influence in Somalia is important, especially in the Horn of Africa. Turkey is trying to establish state-to-state relations with the African countries, and having presence in Somalia would have a positive effect in Turkey, in backing of Turkey's policy to support the national sovereignty and territorial integrity in the countries, which is a win-win for both countries. But also beyond all this economic and infrastructure relations, two countries are now looking into space-related projects, which is also in the long term a visionary project. So we can say that the partnership between two countries is always strategic and runs over the long term. Back to you.
All right, thanks very much, Sinem Koseoglu there live for us in Istanbul. Well, hundreds of people have protested in Somalia against Israel's recognition of Somaliland. Chanting, "Somalia is indivisible." Demonstrators in Mogadishu's national stadium accused Israel of interfering in the country's sovereignty, and they said the move would sow divisions and embolden armed groups.
I strongly oppose the division of my country, the Federal Republic of Somalia. I say to Israel that the recognition you have given to Somaliland provides an opportunity to terrorist groups operating within Somalia.
Abdinor Dahir is an independent researcher and political analyst who focuses on Turkey-Africa relations, and he joins us live from Istanbul. Thank you for speaking to us. Now, how much of a threat is Israel to Turkey's strategic and economic footprint in the Horn of Africa, as we were hearing there from our reporter?
Yes, so Turkey has been investing in Somalia. It has been supporting its security forces, its rebuilding, as well as its political processes, including mediating between the federal government of Somalia and Somaliland to reach a consensus and to reconcile. But the latest move by Israel to recognize Somaliland as an independent state actually threatens that process and also puts Turkey's interest in Somalia and its investments, especially its economic and political investments. Turkey has been in Somalia since 2011, supporting, as I said, humanitarian development and political process. So this is, I can say, a direct threat to Turkey's presence in the region, but also specifically a direct and national threat to Somalia's stability and security, as well as regional
Right, and I was going to say, because
region.
both leaders have called Israel's recognition of Somaliland a violation of Somalia's sovereignty, and we heard from Somalis there protesting against Israel's move. But is it just that, or is there a wider concern over Israel making moves that will give it the wider reach that it perhaps may want in the region and not just confined to its borders?
So this is first and foremost, as I said, Somalis, it endangers Somalia's peace and stability first and foremost. We know that Somalia has been on a civil war and has been fighting terrorists, including ISIS and Daesh and Al-Shabaab terror group in Somalia. So as Somalia gradually moves towards stability, this kind of interference from Israel actually endangers Somali security, but also puts the Horn of Africa region, which is the most unstable region in Africa, stabilizes already in a volatile region, and also puts and transfers the Middle Eastern conflict, especially Palestine-Israel conflict, into Somalia and into the Horn of Africa. This is a major concern not only for Somalia, but the countries on the both sides of the Red Sea, especially on the African side, Djibouti, Ethiopia, Somalia, and Eritrea, as well as Sudan.
Right, and Somalia's president was in Djibouti a day before that. What sort of meetings do we know that he may have coming up, or in terms of trying to gain support across the region?
Yes, so President Hassan Sheikh Mahmud of Somalia is going through a massive diplomatic activity since Israel announced the recognition of Somaliland on Friday. So far, he has spoke on the phone a couple of international leaders, including Turkey, Qatar, Djibouti, as well as East African and African Union leaders. But we will see in person. This is his second visit outside of Somalia since the recognition of Somaliland by Israel. His first was Djibouti, and now in Turkey we will see more regional diplomatic activity by Somalia to contain Israel's moves in Somalia. But also this is a national moment for Somalia, not only to diplomatically solve the problem, but also address the major problem, which is the Somalis' divisions between different communities and especially different authorities. And this is a moment for Somalia to seriously address the Somaliland case, which has been left unaddressed for the last 3 decades. So I think this is an opportunity for Somalia to sit with Somaliland and decide the next steps, and we will see and we'll see how that goes going forward.
All right, thanks very much for your thoughts, Abdinor Dahir there.
Thank you.
Don't miss out and get the full picture. Subscribe to Al Jazeera for reliable news and expert insights. Like, share, stay ahead.